that is a source of concern to many families, many young people across Kenya, and that is jobs. I remember very well in the last country, we can build another layer of countries to make it easier for people to come to Kenya. Last year, and I still want to work on it, but
that there is equally job opportunity and economic growth in this country.
As citizens, to demand from our members of parliament that the program we have on ICT in the world will want to hire a Kenyan. And therefore, we must use it because it is the asset that we have. And that we must begin to manufacture things, products that can be.
As they are the ones who prompted us to have this change that we are having right now. Now, to my question, I want what is necessary to prosecute some of the officers who had gone rogue during the protest. That is just an example I'm giving you about the Constitution.
It was taking more than 10 hours for ships to cross. That was problem number one. Problem number two, my good friend Hersi, you want to say something about that space? That space, my good friend Ala was saying.
In 2027, there's no reason why we should not even hit 5 million. No doubt. But Your Excellency, for us to do that,
it has to allow ships to go through. We have agreed, we have signed the contracts to be able to yesterday when I was in, the day before when I was in Kilifi, and we have agreed to bridge the big bridge going into the future. Okay, let's.
Kama mimi nafanya hiyo forex. Kama ningekuwa wote wanafanya forex, hakuna mtu angekuwa na kusumbua hapa. Tulikuwa tumetengeneza more than $100 right now. Because I do boom and crash.
Which is like 5,000 shillings. Bado tunaisukuma chini. Katika finance bill ambayo ilianguka juzi, tulikuwa tumeondoa ushuru kwa smartphone ndio watu wengi waweze kufikia kununua. Kwamba sio lazima watoto walemavu waende kwa shule ya watoto walemavu. We must make it possible for wale watoto wanaishi na ulemavu wasome 2027. In fact, it is a conversation that I have already had with my friends. We don't create instances where people begin to doubt what Kenya stands for. I am very confident. Visa under the ETA program is automatic. They apply within 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, to work on it. So that we can build another layer of countries to make it easier for people to come to Kenya. Just by changing the ETA, we will not renege on the commitment that was made by the government of Kenya. As soon as we can see activity in the port, we will unlock all the other.
Swali langu lipende kwako. Kuna kina mama ambao wako hapa mashinani. Na mama hao wamepitia changamoto nyingi sana hivi kwamba wanashindwa access government opportunities.
From the side, and the second one is because of hakuna pesa for national youth council. Budget yao for less than 100 billion, Mr.
Japan to conclude the Mombasa Gateway Bridge. The Mombasa Gateway Bridge is going to sort out the problem of the fisheries to build that Mombasa Gateway Bridge. And I was with the Japanese ambassador yesterday.
to hit even 2 million. Where I sit, and with my colleagues here, there is no reason why we cannot hit 3.5 million. We don't hit 4.5 million, and by the time we hit that. But Your Excellency, for us to do that, there are a few things that we need to do. And we call it the low-hanging fruits. For 11 hours, Ethiopia will be holding us for 14 hours to connect to another country. But as long as they know we have an airline, they'll never mistreat us. And one thing also we don't know is that our national carrier, despite all its challenges, is the biggest source of passengers into Kenya, 60%.
We would love to know maybe approaches.
Because we have many people, let us just have one question per person. I think
our children end up suffering. So we changed the model. We said, since there is so that we can connect it to the bigger corridor going to Ethiopia, and the expansion and the
we lazima tupanue ile mpango wa cash transfer ambayo inafikia watoto walemavu, watu wanaoishi katika the fish that we want for our country. And number 3, for the first time in the history of Kenya.
Please, these select countries, can you give them ETA on arrival? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. There was a time we were importing toothpicks, imagine. That we have manufacturing capacity in Kenya. We must begin to apply duty so that we stop products from other countries and build our own furniture. There was a bit of noise last year because I put down my foot and I said, look, because we put duty on those products, steel, for example, steel billets, 1,000 Kenyans have opened, and they're now hiring Kenyans and producing steel billets locally in Kenya. You know what's interesting? Emma, in the last couple of weeks, going into 1 month, I committed to the country that I am going to form a... Let me answer it this way. It was necessary to have a fresh start, because as I told the people of Kenya, we're going to have a broad-based government and we're going to have a fresh start. So that even those, we may have been friends, but now the terms are different. Number 2, I also form an administration that has the broader face of Kenya. And that is why you see, and I said I'm going to consult. And I'm going to talk to people who are willing to talk to me. There are those who did not.
To give him time, like actually to give him time to work on these issues, to set things right. If he had to the way forward from now on, see that there is the respect of the rule of law, the very constitution that you sought to protect, and all.
And maybe Helsi will help me there to say something, because you are an expert in that space. But let me, before I ask you to say something there, let me say about
how important blue economy is to Kenya, not just to the people of the coast, but to Kenya. Today, my intention is that in the next 3 years, we should be making between 80 billion and 120 billion shillings. What is important for the people of Kenya? Our development partners, and I must thank the World Bank, they agreed with me, and we changed that program. At the showground, we gave out 1.7 billion shillings so that they can change their livelihoods. On Friday, I committed that we are going to buy fishermen, about 120, cannot go very far. You can only go there for an hour or 2 or 3 that we want for our country. And number 3, for the first time in the history of Kenya, we have licensed an industrial that will do industrial fishing, one that can go for 1 month into the deep sea, industrial fishing boats, minimum by 2027. In fact, it is what we are doing around the fishing space. We are putting the highest resources ever put in Lake Victoria. We are building 5 fish landing ports here in sites here in the coast, and women and people working in that space with the relevant skills and competences. We have trained 6,202 coxswains.
Before I come to the open skies, Your Excellency, please address the issues bedeviling our national carrier. We've been building even priority at our airports, both JKA and Moi International. When you go to Ethiopia, Ethiopian Airlines is given red carpet. BA is
In 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, they can travel to Kenya. Unlike before, where they had to look for the Kenya.
Because you've set an event on the 9th of August at KICD for all the student leaders. Did you come up with the funding model? How does the funding model work? Do you feel like the implementation of the funding is okay?